Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show. Before I get on out of here, I had to talk about a story that's very, very important. And albeit indirectly, it involves Caitlin Clark
in the ongoing WNBA CBA negotiations, and there is a brand new wrinkle to the storyline as it's been reported that there is a Saudi-backed basketball league that will be kicking off next season, and this could truly change everything.
Is this enough to entice Caitlin Clark? $20 million deal, 30, 40, $50 million deals.
Welcome back. Glad to have you here for another wild one. So buckle up, because this is a story you don't want to miss. Stick around till the end, because the details and reactions coming up are worth the wait. Let's dive right into it. Everything we thought we knew about pro sports hierarchy is about to get flipped on its head. For months, the narrative around Caitlin Clark has been dominated by resentment, sharp jabs, and petty jealousy from her peers. But while WNBA veterans were busy trying to knock her down a peg, one of the wealthiest entities on the planet was quietly watching from the sidelines. This isn't about a sneaker deal or a record-breaking contract extension. This is about $1 billion shakeup that Stephen A. Smith just confirmed on live TV. And this time, it's not just internet chatter. Whispers are growing that Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund is eyeing a hostile takeover of women's basketball, with Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham reportedly at the top of their wish list. Pairing the era's best shooter with one of the league's biggest draws would create a breakaway force the WNBA simply can't ignore. Smith didn't mince words. He warned the league that if they didn't protect their golden goose, somebody else would swoop in and take the whole thing. Looks like that warning just came true. To understand why this billion-dollar story has front offices sweating, you have to look at who's delivering the message. Nobody has pushed back harder on Clark's treatment than Stephen A. Smith. While other commentators tiptoed around it, calling it competitive fire, Smith called it what he saw: jealousy dressed up as tough defense. He's gone off on national TV about the league squandering its biggest star, pointing to her flying commercial, Kennedy Carter's cheap shoulder check, and her Olympic snub as proof. But his tone has shifted lately, from frustration to something closer to a warning shot. "The market always corrects itself," he said, arguing there's no way to keep a $76,000 a year salary attached to a talent worth hundreds of millions. According to Smith, the league's old guard thought they could stall Clark out and make her wait her turn, forgetting that today's players hold real leverage. By backing up these outside investment rumors, Smith's really just saying one thing: respect runs out where mistreatment begins. He called this: the WNBA treated her like a threat to manage. Now she might just become the competition. Here's where the whole loyalty narrative falls apart completely. Let's break down the actual math. The WNBA operates under a strict salary cap, and Caitlin Clark's 4-year rookie deal comes out to roughly $338,000 total, about $76,000 for year one. For comparison, that's less than what some NBA bench players make in a single week. The league has long claimed there's just no revenue to work with, pointing to nearly 3 decades of financial losses. Yet somehow, Clark fixed that problem in a matter of months. Attendance spiked after her draft, TV ratings hit numbers not seen in decades, and merchandise sales exploded. She's generating millions for the league while earning barely enough to cover rent in a major city. That's exactly why the Saudi rumors are so hard to brush off. The public investment fund doesn't think in thousands, it thinks in billions. To them, Clark isn't a rookie paying her dues. She's a massively undervalued global asset. If the reported billion-dollar investment in a new league or tournament is real, we're not talking about a paycheck. We're talking about building an empire with an upfront offer that could dwarf the combined career earnings of every other WNBA player. Stack that next to $76,000, and the decision basically makes itself. But this isn't just one athlete cashing in. It's a calculated geopolitical play, and we've watched this exact script before. Remember LIV Golf? The PGA Tour ran the show for decades, controlling the players, the purses, and the calendar, until Saudi money stepped in, not asking to partner, but simply buying players outright, dangling hundreds of millions in front of guys like Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson just to show up. Critics called it sports washing and accused the players of chasing cash, But eventually the PGA had no choice but to fold and merge. Insiders now believe the same strategy is being run on women's basketball. The WNBA is vulnerable. Underpaid stars, rough travel conditions, and mounting frustration have created the perfect opening. By targeting Clark specifically, the Saudis would be striking at the sport's core. Without her, the WNBA fades back into the background. With her, a rival league could rocket to global relevance almost overnight. Of course, one star alone can't carry a league. You need rivalry, star power, and depth, which explains why Sophie Cunningham's name keeps coming up. Why her instead of Brianna Stewart or Aya Wilson? It comes down to raw marketability. Cunningham has built a loyal following through her tough, physical style and her online presence. She's got the charisma brands crave and the social media instincts to match. Pair her fierce, outspoken energy with Clark's generational talent, and you've got a duo built for exactly this kind of breakaway venture. They're exactly the kind of faces a new venture would want leading the charge, and Stephen A. Smith has hammered this point again and again. Leagues run on stars who put fans in seats, and both Clark and Cunningham do exactly that. Now let's get into why Clark might actually walk away from the league she grew up dreaming of playing in. Turning down a billion-dollar offer would be a lot easier if the WNBA had actually had her back, but that's not what happened. From the moment she stepped on the court, it was open season. Diana Taurasi's Final Four comments on ESPN read less like advice and more like a warning shot, as if the incoming talent was something to be guarded against rather than welcomed. Then came the games themselves. Clark getting hounded full court, taking hard hits in the paint, hitting the floor, while referees looked the other way. Kennedy Carter's hip check wasn't just a rough play, it was a statement. Smith erupted afterward, asking why her own teammates weren't stepping in and why the league wasn't protecting its biggest asset. The pattern became impossible to ignore. The WNBA's veteran core wasn't ready to hand over the spotlight, and they were doing everything they could to snuff it out. In that kind of hostile climate, walking away starts looking pretty appealing. Why stay somewhere you're resented when another option means better treatment and dramatically more money? This wouldn't even be the first attempt to lure her elsewhere. Remember when Ice Cube publicly dangled $5 million for her to play just 8 games in his 3-on-3 league? That's more than her entire WNBA rookie contract, and she turned it down, still holding on to the dream of winning it all in the league she'd chosen. But that was before the rough treatment, before the lack of protection, before the constant scrutiny. Now, with circumstances different, the rumored Saudi offer reportedly makes Cube's money look like pocket change. What makes this different is the infrastructure behind it. This wouldn't be a side gig. It would replace the league entirely. Lighter schedules, first-class travel, no salary cap, and the credibility of a true global circuit. It would solve every complaint players have voiced for years. Ice Cube proved her value existed in the market. The Saudis are proving they have the money to build something lasting around it. Now picture this from Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's chair. If these rumors hold up, she's staring down a crisis. The WNBA is mid-negotiation on a massive new media rights deal, pitching networks like Disney, Amazon, and NBC for billions, with the Clark-driven ratings surge as their entire pitch. But that leverage evaporates instantly if she signs elsewhere. Networks aren't investing billions in the WNBA without her. She's the reason they're at the table. If she leaves, the deal likely collapses, and with it, the revenue bump every player, including the ones who targeted her, was counting on. The irony is hard to miss. The veterans may have jeopardized their own paydays by pushing out the one player generating the money. Smith's basically said as much. You can't bite the hand feeding you and expect it to keep feeding you. Now, the obvious issue everyone will raise. Saudi PF involvement always draws moral scrutiny. We saw it with LIV Golf. We heard it when Ronaldo signed in the Saudi League. And we'll hear it again, with critics bringing up human rights concerns and accusations of using sports for image repair. But as Smith often points out, ethics don't pay bills. Nobody blinks when NBA players cash checks from Chinese sponsors, and the golf world's outrage faded within half a year. For women athletes who've dealt with underpayment for years, the moral calculus gets even murkier. How do you fault someone earning $70,000 for taking a $10 million opportunity instead? Fans might argue about it online, but history shows they ultimately follow talent. Put Clark and Cunningham on a court anywhere, and people will tune in. the outrage never lasts. Generational wealth, once built, tends to stick around. So let's dig deeper into what the Sophie Cunningham piece of this puzzle really means. It suggests the new league wouldn't follow the traditional city team format at all, but instead lean toward a tour-style setup similar to golf or tennis, with stars like Clark and Cunningham jetting between major cities: London, Tokyo, Dubai, New York, for high-profile exhibition matches and tournaments, cutting out the low-interest regular season games nobody tunes in for, and making every appearance an event. Adding Cunningham brings the social dynamic into play. She and Clark have genuine, marketable chemistry, embodying a bold, stylish new wave of basketball talent. This breakaway concept threatens the WNBA precisely because it appeals to casual viewers. The millions who started watching purely for Clark would likely follow her anywhere, while diehard league loyalists might stay put. But if she and Cunningham do team up under a Saudi-backed banner, the WNBA risks becoming little more than a farm league for the real spectacle. And the silence from both camps only strengthens the theory. When rumors this big surface, agents usually rush to shut them down to avoid distraction. Yet neither Clark's team nor Cunningham's side has issued a denial, and rather than calming things, Stephen A. Smith keeps stoking them. In sports, silence usually means something's actively being negotiated behind closed doors, with no announcement possible until contracts are finalized or the season wraps. But the lack of pushback speaks volumes, suggesting they may already be preparing to leave or using the offer as bargaining leverage. Timing matters too. The grueling WNBA schedule, brutal travel, and physical toll only make a private jet, billion-dollar alternative more tempting as the season wears on. And this silence hints both players know exactly how much power they now hold. So where does that leave us? We could be standing at the edge of the biggest shakeup women's sports has ever seen. As Smith tells it plainly, instead of protecting their breakout star, the WNBA let poor management and internal jealousy drive a wedge between themselves and the very player who saved them. This rumored billion-dollar Saudi venture featuring Clark and Cunningham isn't just a business deal. It's a signal that if existing systems keep failing to pay women fairly, someone else eventually will. The Clark-Cunningham era may never happen in WNBA uniforms, and if that's the outcome, the league only has itself to blame. Whether she leaves isn't really the question anymore, it's when. And once that press conference happens and the number gets revealed, women's sports won't look the same again. So tell me, would you stick with the WNBA or follow Clark and Cunningham into a breakaway league?